MDG'S.
Zaza. Oh, yeah.
Fitzy and
Sweet as.
Wippa.
Happy Wednesday, guys. Welcome to the Fitzy and Wippa podcast. Disasters on first dates. I mean, you go out, sometimes you go all out and you try things.
Yeah.
Well, you try different moves,
What do you
I
mean?
suppose.
What do you mean by that?
Positions.
Yeah, I'm talking. No. This story
Probably
is
not the time to do it,
This story is about actually what you order at a
especially
restaurant.
at the dinner table.
So you shouldn't do that. Get to know the person first.
Wow.
Sarah, you were
You're
being
that flexible.
very immature before.
How so?
I haven't heard that song for so long. You're sitting there going, "Milky, milky lemonade, round the corner, chocolate made."
I'm pretty sure you were pointing at me with your pen and mouthing that song like an absolute pest, but as
Could
long
you
as
be-
it's on tape, hello HR.
Can you do me a favour
Yes.
for this podcast? Grow up. Yeah? All right, guys.
Tell us another story, Whip.
Storyteller.
All right, guys. What this man ordered at the restaurant.
We don't care.
Well, you're going to need to care, Sarah. Grow up.
You're so boring.
Round the corner, chocolates made. Enjoy the podcast, guys. That relationship story. Well, you've given it away. It's milk. That story very soon.
The Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Always tough to know what to order on a first date, isn't it? Because your first impression of what they might order could really set the pace for the dinner and what you're about to experience as you get to know that person a little deeper.
Sushi restaurant, like Harry was just talking about
Yeah.
it then, I
Yeah.
suppose. Is that too full on to go sashimi first up?
No, that's fine. Let's focus on the drinks though, because you changed. Like if I go out for dinner, I'll 9 times out of 10 I'm going to start with a beer. That's just what I do. I start with a beer, then maybe we get a bottle of wine, might have an Aperol spritz. Friday night we were drinking Bondi rums. Anything could happen.
You love a spritz.
I don't mind a spritz. Easy drinking. It's a nice summer feel.
It's got a beautiful colour to it too.
It does have
doesn't it?
it's a real summer feel. Tommy, lager, sometimes cider, vodka.
Yep, lager,
fits, beer, you go lager,
I'm a
wine,
lager, yeah.
lager, wine. Sarah, cider, lager, cider.
Never drunk a cider in my life. Just proving we're barely friends. Barely co-workers, mate.
This guy's date wanted out because when the waitress came round and said, "Hey, can I get you guys a drink to kick things off?" She said, "Sure, I'll have a lovely glass of Chardonnay." He said, "Great, I really feel like a glass of milk."
That can't be the thing.
I don't have an issue with that. And you know what?
No.
Jess, who works on the show here, it's Jess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jess, you were saying you've never, ever had a glass of
Never
milk.
in my life have I poured a glass of milk and had it. The thought of it actually makes me feel sick.
Do you know what? Ricky Lee talks about this all the time. She can't understand how anybody would enjoy a glass of milk.
But she couldn't because it gives you like a reflux for singing, so she wouldn't have had to.
Oh, my
Thought of
God.
it coating my throat and also just the taste of it. Like I've had it in cereal and I've had a Milo, obviously.
But what about a milkshake?
Yeah, I've had a
Different.
milkshake, but I
It's
just
not.
wouldn't, and it makes me cough. I think I might be allergic a little bit.
Right,
But I just
okay.
can't.
You're lactate, is it?
Maybe, but just the thought of it.
Oh, you know what? It can be the most refreshing drink on the shelf. If you get cold milk,
so cold.
a big glass of cold
Yeah.
milk after a workout is a great start to the day.
It's good for your bones as well, isn't it? Is
Yeah,
that why we
good for your
drink
osteo,
milk?
good for
Yeah.
your teeth.
Is that why he's getting it? Was he looking after his body, or
No, I just felt like milk.
he didn't want Kahlua in it, or
No, I didn't want any
Baileys?
Kahlua.
Wow.
Where do you go, though, after you've had your glass of milk? Because you don't kind of go back to a beer once you've had a glass of milk, do you?
that's
Well,
true.
it's a bit of a mum used to get you a nice glass of milk, isn't it?
It's
It's a bit of a
comforting, isn't it?
mummy's drink.
See, maybe
isn't
he
it?
was nervous, Fitz.
It's
Yeah,
a
it is.
mummy's drink.
It's a comforter.
Yeah.
It's a comforter. Some people would even have warm milk before they went to bed as like a nighttime thing to make them feel warm.
There wasn't a single drink that you were going to say then that I would have thought that this woman wasn't in the wrong. As soon as you said milk, totally get it. That bloke has a cat
Yeah,
at
where does he
home.
go? I mean, does he go milk and then he orders just a shot of tequila?
Yeah.
And you just to try and stump the woman and keep it interesting.
So hang on, has she bailed him up on this and says no more dates?
No more dates. She was so thrown by it. She sat there politely. They ordered some food. He would have ordered something really weird. I'll have the snails. I don't know. And then afterwards, no more phone calls. Went on to tell her friends it all ended at the glass of milk.
Well, don't you remember Josiah, who used to work on the show, set me up with one of his friends on a blind date? And the feedback afterwards, why date 2 was never going to happen, was because I ordered a beer and a steak, and it was unladylike.
Oh,
And I was.
some guys are thrown by girls drinking beer.
I'd been playing sport, heaven forbid, and I was really thirsty. I just wanted a beer.
So you'd been playing touch, had you, mate? And then you felt like a beer and a steak.
I hadn't
There was
been
an
playing. So.
AFL player who also became a coach, Nathan Buckley, but he used to watch what he used to eat all the time, to the point that he used to measure and weigh how much the meal was. So there was a period there where he would go to restaurants there and say, look, I only want this size portion, and I will be weighing it when it comes out.
Amazing.
Because he would do it
What a pain in the bum.
down to
Yeah.
the final detail.
Do you know there was...
So he'd have his little scales there at a restaurant, and he was like weighing a steak.
Well, that's off-putting a little bit.
Because a mate of mine was on that MyFitnessPal app, right, which is your calorie counter. He would go to a restaurant and say, could you find out from the chef just how many carrots are in the meal? Could you find out the weight of the steak? Could you find out how much is in the onions? And how much butter is being used? So the meal would arrive with those details, and he'd enter it into MyFitnessPal.
Oh, that's sad, isn't
Setting
it?
yourself
What a
up
loser.
for a huge loogie in that meal that you don't know about from a chef.
Yeah, one thing you don't know, what was under that steak.
Ben Cousins also went to restaurants with scales, but it was for a very different
audience.
Oh, mate, he's straight and narrow now. That is a
It's a
horrible,
reference that a
Holiday
lot of Sydney
mode?
people wouldn't know.
completely unfair.
It's time to stop putting off your trips and start celebrating summer with an amazing getaway.
Whatif.com has all kinds of accommodation options all around Australia.
Check them out on the What If app.
What if? It's Aussie for travel. Tell me if you think this is a bit odd. I mean, maybe it's just me, but a few other parents are blown up at daycare. A kid's turned up one morning with a bit of a wobbly tooth, and the daycare teacher has decided to take it upon herself to remove the wobbly tooth.
Can't do that.
Can't.
Why not?
I mean,
What if the child's complaining?
The kid apparently told her to stop as well. And you know, if in
Right.
doubt, you put in a phone call.
you would ring
Yes.
the parents first, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it
Or
just
I suppose you could do a sneaky little elbow without anyone looking, could you, just to get it out?
It just feels a bit invasive, doesn't it?
What if trying to get in the mind of the carer, what if she thought there was a choke risk? Like, how old is this child?
You're not going to choke on a tooth.
No, I know, but otherwise, as a carer, why would you want to?
Why would you want to? Yeah. Maybe just thought they could help, or maybe they saw it like, I don't know, squeezing someone else's pimple. They just saw it and couldn't help themselves. They wanted to pluck it out of the head.
Don't get me wrong, though. That is a tough job. Now, when I used to get picked up at school, at Flaxmill Primary School, and I went to a daycare centre that eventually got shut down for some of the dodgy stuff that they were doing, Sarah. First of all, they had too many kids.
Right.
Right? So the kids were going crazy. I saw another kid stab another kid with a pen.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, there was a fair bit going on. There was another couple of young kids that were just hooking up with each other the whole time at daycare. I learned a lot of lessons from that one. Talking year 7, so it's primary school
Oh,
kids.
we're talking daycare.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Oh, my God.
Well, no, this was after school care. Sorry.
Right.
Yes. I'm sorry. So we used to
real
get,
different.
because mum and dad
Just left us there.
worked, so we had to get picked up every day in this rundown minivan and go to after school care, and it was crazy. It's like jail. I mean, I had to pick a group.
Yeah. Who'd you go with?
Hispanics.
Did you?
Just everyone went with them, and
That was
thought,
interesting.
You guys look after me.
Just one other kid in
Had to
Adelaide.
get a tattoo straight away.
Oh, my God, that's hard. I think, too, the thing with the tooth as well, it's a bit of an exciting time at home. You know, when a kid loses a tooth and then the process of the tooth fairy coming that night and the money in the envelope or wherever you put your cash, you've got all that as well. And I think for another adult to say, well, I'll take it upon myself to put my hand in your mouth, I reckon that's a bit...
See, I'm not fussed.
Aren't you?
As a parent,
You'd be all right with it?
nah, if that tooth needs to come out,
Oh, Mr. Jones pulled my tooth out.
you get your hand right in there. I don't want to do it later.
God, I didn't want any
What
of the
about a
teachers touching me.
dislocation? Let's say your kid dislocated their shoulder. You all right with the carer to
No.
pop it back in?
Very different.
Why?
You could cause long-term damage. A wobbly tooth. is
Infection,
not-
Sarah. You don't know.
Oh,
Don't
come on.
know.
It's not an open wound.
I'll never forget one of the teachers. They kept a close eye on me. I went through a bad that stage in maybe grade 3 kindergarten where I loved going down the slide, but quite often I'd need to get to the bathroom
get
stairs.
stuck.
No,
Oh,
I wouldn't
sorry.
get stuck. No, it wasn't a full circle. It was just one of those half slides.
So it was even weirder that you got stuck.
No, but I used to wear these little velvet blue shorts, and a couple of times I was caught out where,
Got them on
unfortunately,
today by the looks of it.
unfortunately, I'd feel the stomach churning, and I'd be waiting for the slide, and I didn't make it to the bathroom stairs, and
Oh, sewage.
Brown
yeah,
slide.
brown slide, and you would have a bit of an accident in the back of the blue velvies, and that was terrible. No one wants a mud dragon in the back of the blue velvies.
Wow,
But I
and-
would have to go up to the bathroom and then try and sort myself out. I
Were the
wouldn't want
lobster rolls off or something that
Yeah,
day?
I think they were. One of the oysters. I think it was I think it was one of those big Pacific
All right,
oysters.
kids, line up and get your little dip of caviar.
Oh,
Everybody,
no, I knew. No.
stop crying.
It was the truffle on the chicken pie at lunchtime. It was just far
Always
too much.
get-
There's no truffle on these chips. I want mummy.
Is this parmesan? It tastes like tasty.
Don't you dare touch my velvet shorts. I want the golden ticket, Daddy.
My kindergarten was absolutely nothing like that.
But you still had velvet shorts on.
Well, I had a pair of...
Where's my driver? I'm going home.
It's just what your shorts were back then. Maybe they were velour, says. I don't know. They were probably velour.
Not velour.
You were
right?
known as Richie Whips.
But they were
I
very...
think Fitzy said you're Stewie from Family Guy. I'm starting to feel a bit like that's your childhood.
You know, you'd go to the toilet, you'd try and
Why
fix
are we
this.
still doing this?
I don't know, mate. I've lost this one, haven't I?
You were like the Aussies. You started really well.
The Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Well done to the Socceroos. All in the game plan. Let France win easy and then focus on Tunisia, which is a great game plan that Arnie's got at the moment. Jeez, it was just brilliant, though. When Craig Goodwin scored at the 13-minute mark,
Classic Goodwin.
Australians to be up against France 1-0 is an amazing effort. 2 minutes later, it was 1-1, and then
doesn't matter.
5 minutes after that, it was 2-1, and it ended up 4-1.
There was a
Jeez, it
moment.
a moment.
There was a moment we celebrated here, and the Spanish commentary team also celebrated.
Boa chegada da Austrália, o cruzamento na segunda trave, pintou! Gol! Olha aí!
I mean, he nearly passed out.
He could rival the rooster.
Yes, he
Remember
could.
we
The
used to
7 o'clock
have the
rooster.
7 o'clock rooster.
Yeah, we did. You know what's exciting to do? I'm putting football aside. 12:30 if anybody wants to come down to Bondi Inc. There is one hell of a rig that's going to wander through the door and take his shirt off because it's time to get the tattoo of the buffalo. Wow. This is awesome, MDG. I'm coming down with you, buddy.
I appreciate your
So
support.
just for anybody that's tuning in for the first time and hearing this story, the buffalo represents...
It is a story about the fact that when there is a storm coming,
Yeah.
a cow will turn and run away from a storm, right? It'll try to escape it, try to avoid it. And in the process, the storm will inevitably catch it. You'll be in it for longer and you won't have confronted it. The buffalo will see the storm coming, turn and face the storm, charge directly at it,
So you're the
take it
buffalo.
head on, get through the storm faster and know that they came out of it
That's
looking at head on.
inspiring.
Don't know too many sporting teams have used the buffalo.
Yeah,
as a
how do you know
reference.
this
I was
story?
going to say the Buffalo Bills, but that's just the name.
Yeah, it's an ice cream.
That's a buffalo bill.
Yeah.
Not a buffalo.
And then you have impotence written...
No.
Sorry,
No. Impermanence.
Impermanence.
Which is a Buddhist
Sorry.
phrase. Which
And
is.
what does that mean?
That means that life is impermanent, it's ever evolving. So when you're in a moment of joy, cherish it because that will pass. But when you're in a moment of suffering, don't despair too deeply because that too will pass.
It's
Yeah, the
it's a
impotent
lot of
buffalo.
explaining, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's not an impotent buffalo. That's
No.
not what I've got.
And you know what? I mean, you'll be down the beach this week. The weather's magnificent. So I dare say you'll have to tell that story probably 5 or 6 times a day.
A couple of times. What you will probably have to do too, and if you haven't yet, share it with your wife that you're getting a new tattoo.
Yeah, I meant to
She
tell her yesterday.
yesterday.
Yeah, well, because she's in the
told her
middle
yesterday.
of tattoo removal, and so she's getting a
which hurts.
Birds of Tokyo tattoo off her arm, and I'm about to add a buffalo on mine. She wasn't completely supportive, I won't be honest. She said, as long as it's at a part of your body that no one can see.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it's going on my arm and my shoulder.
Yes.
Um,
And you hate getting your top off.
Well, I just heard that the budgie smuggler photo, which is up on the Instagram from yesterday, it led to an 8 lifetime increase in the number of people that listen to the podcast because that photo said go listen to the podcast
to win
and you can win some budgie smugglers. So the evidence is in the numbers.
When is Australia's next game? When can we watch them again?
Tunisia, we take them on at 9 p.m. Saturday night. That's going to be massive.
Okay.
The good thing is Tunisia and Denmark played this morning. They're the other two teams in our group. They had a 0-0 draw.
Right,
So
okay.
Boring. At least we had heaps of goals in our game.
We'll take one.
That's how it's judged.
Well, can we throw it out there? If Bronte's just finding out about the tattoo,
Sure.
did you surprise your partner with a tattoo? 13, 24, 10, and they had no idea you were going to get it, and the next thing you know, you come home and there's a big eagle on your back. There's a screaming eagle just all across your back. Tommy, could we give away budgie smugglers right now for anybody that wants to call through?
Nice tie-in, absolutely.
The
Every
Fitzy
caller.
Wippa exclusive summer look budgie smugglers. If you surprised your partner with a tattoo, love to know their feedback.
Sarah has spent the entire last 6 minutes trying to convince me to get it
I
in
don't
a tiny,
understand.
under my foot, sort of hidden place.
So you can hide it from a Band-Aid.
Josh from Bondi Inc. is an artist, Sarah. His work needs to be displayed.
I don't discredit their skill. I just don't know if you have thought this through.
Let him create. The other issue was telling your wife last night too, just sort of 12 hours out that you were going to go and get another tattoo. Surprising a partner with a tattoo, always a great idea. Laurie in Oran Park, you surprised your hubby, did you?
I did. I went and got a tattoo on the inside of my left wrist that I'd wanted for ages, but he had a no tattoo policy. He hates them, absolutely hates them, but I went and got it, and then it took him about a week, maybe a little bit longer, to realise, to notice it.
What was it? Was it the infinity sign?
No, that's on the back of my neck. No, now. I got African symbols on my wrist that mean make order out of chaos, take control of inner health, and continue my story.
Ah, there you go. So he was upset first up, took a week, and he was all right with it, Laurie?
No. It took him a week to notice, and he was furious, but I kind of pointed out the fact that it took him a week to notice something so permanent about me.
Yes.
So maybe that should be the issue we should be addressing.
Oh, you flipped it.
Yeah, well,
Laurie,
Then he had no ground to stand on.
do you live your life by those words now?
I try to.
But do you ever look down and go, oh, yeah, that's what I've got to do now?
Yeah. No, it is. It's a good reminder.
it is a good rule. That's why a lot of sportsmen write on their wrist and that what they need to do during a game, or who's their inspiration, or for its family member. That always used to fire me up.
Laurie, what's your tie-in to the African culture?
I just really liked the symbols, and I figured if I had something that was going to be permanent on me, I had to like looking at it all the time as well as it being meaningful.
Well done, Laurie.
Good on you,
well
Laurie.
done.
There you go.
Well, you got some budgie smugglers for your husband coming your way. Taylor in Borkham Hills, who do you know that surprised someone with a tattoo?
Yeah, hi guys. My sister-in-law, we were all in Thailand for my partner's 30th, and she all of a sudden just disappeared for about 40 minutes, and we all turned around and saw her in the tattoo shop across from the bar, and we go in with her partner, and we all look down, and she's got his name tattooed on the top of her foot. And we were all holding our breath for a second, and then he loved it so much he laughed, and then he also got her name on the top of his foot
What
as
a
well.
beautiful moment. You know what I mean? At Coron Beach there in Phuket, this is a moment that you just remember forever.
Oh, you never forget it. Just beautiful. And are they still together?
Yeah, they're still together. They get married next year, and then 2 years, and then we all actually got Let's Go on our foot as well in solidarity.
Oh,
You got
let's go.
Let go?
Let's go.
Yeah, like, let's go. Yeah.
Let's go.
As in, like, let's go here?
The boys.
No, let's go. No, that's the same. Let's go. Let's do this.
Sarah.
Hers now says Let's Go James, so it's pretty funny.
Let's go.
That's so funny.
Sarah, this is a great idea from Taylor.
Isn't it?
Let's all get
I'll
a
tell you-
buffalo tattoo in
yes.
solidarity.
Yeah, I'll tell you where you
Let's
can go.
Says if you were to get a tat, what do you think?
Such is life.
Like a
Well,
yin and yang, like Fitzy's?
On your neck.
on Fitzy's lower back. What's that? You've got the Aztec symbol. Yeah, too detailed. I don't handle needles that well. I'm not getting a tat, so this is not even a conversation.
Side of your
buffalo,
neck?
Sarah.
What are you going to get, mate?
Well, he'll get the little horse with the polo player.
Yeah, so I don't have to keep wearing the T-shirt or just a bum with a fist coming out of it. Something like that, Sue.
Well, you've already got that on your forehead.
What do you mean, guys? It's all about the buffalo. I'm running away from that storm, MDG. See you later, mate. Impotent.
The Fitzy and and Wippa podcast.
Got a couple of local ones for you. Actually, how's this? The Coogee Bay Hotel, which I think is open for the Socceroos match this morning. How's the chefs come out? And he said, one surprising menu item that we've quietly removed from its offering is the classic Australian chicken parmigiana. The head chef said nobody noticed that it's gone.
Well, no one's ordering
Are you
it?
serious?
The palmy?
He said when they stopped offering, he said, I was expecting a bit of a backlash. So far, we haven't had one request for it.
Well, it's not would you call it a classic pub now?
Well,
Coogee Bay?
A classic pub?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great pub.
Yeah, but don't you think it's a bit more boutique now?
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
And therefore, people going there and thinking, oh, love a palmy.
Without doubt, right, when you think of a counter meal, you're going to the pub to have a meal.
Oh, yeah.
What's the first thing that comes into your head?
The old schnitzel.
It's a
palmy.
chicken parmigiana, isn't
Palmy
it?
or schnitzel?
So they've taken that off.
And I mean, for him to say no one's requested it, that's because you look at the menu, you realise it's not there,
It's not
so you're
there.
not going to go and ask for
No.
it. But that doesn't stop conversations like this at the table where you go, well, this chef's an idiot.
No one's asked for it. Can I have the chicken parmigiana, please? It's not on the menu. All right, we'll move on.
You can do it.
The other one is Frankie's. Anyone been to Frankie's Pizza at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Good, isn't it?
It's closing, Sarah.
No.
So they've given us a date. December 11 is the last one. And they're firing up too. Wolf Mother's going to be playing on the 7th. On the 10th is the Kiss Frankie's Goodbye. And the 11th is the Frankie's Goes to Hell party.
Oh, my God.
Jeez, that'll get ugly.
If you survive that, you've done well.
Will people just be ripping stuff off the walls for memorabilia?
It already looks like
it
everything's
down.
been ripped off the walls. Why is it closing? And is the little whiskey bar out the back, which was one of the great little speakeasies, is that still going or is it all gone?
Development, mate. Have a listen to this. It's to be demolished to make way for the Metro West line, which will link Parramatta to the CBD.
That sucks.
You can't rip Frankie's down for a train line.
Are they relocating it, though?
No, I don't think they are.
That's a really good call, Sarah.
That
I
final-
probably should know.
What's the name of that final party they're having? Frankie's Goes to Hell.
Goes to Hell.
I'm interested in that one. Really want to tear it down. All right, good luck, guys.
The Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Lights, camera, clarity.
Ooh, Sarah.
The top trending stories in entertainment. Yesterday, Kanye West was back on Twitter. Today, he is running for president in 2024.
He had a crack at this earlier, didn't he? Didn't he suggest that he would and then...
Well, he did in 2020, remember? And there was that terrible
Entry
press,
ballot.
Yeah, but the press conference, remember, where he stood up and he talked about his parents wanting to terminate,
That's right.
his mum wanting to terminate the pregnancy when he was being born, and then he said that he and Kim talked about it for North, and it just got really personal quickly.
Wouldn't have he got the idea? Wouldn't have he got the message last time, Sarah, that no one voted for him?
Oh, and considering what's gone on the last 6 months, I reckon this time you'll get less than no votes.
Says, do you know what, though? We were talking about this the other day, weren't we? Off air, I think. But when you look at where his mind would be, there was footage of him walking through a crowd and he's got security. There was, 100, 200 people chanting his name as he walked through. So in
They
his
wanted
mind...
free Yeezys.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
In his mind, he's like, what I'm doing is working.
Absolutely.
The people want more of me right now. We're outside of that small crowd. The people going, bloke's lost the plot, and he needs to apologise.
Such a skewed reality. I did see as well yesterday his ex. Remember Julia Fox? She was the girl who dated him as soon as he'd broken up with
Oh,
Kanye.
Jay Fox, yeah.
She put up a video on TikTok basically saying that she only dated him to get him away from Kim.
I was like, I don't really want to hook up with a celebrity again. Like, nothing, you know what I mean? Nothing ever comes of it. It's like they're kind of boring. Like, they're not what you think they're going to be like. But he kept going and going, and he was like, you have bad text etiquette. And then I was like, oh my God, Kanye's yelling at me. Like, what do I do? But then I had this thought, and I was like, oh my God, maybe I can get him off Kim's case. Like, maybe I can distract him. Like, just get him to like me. And I knew, I was like, if anyone can do it, it's me, because when I set my mind to something, I do it.
Isn't she a type?
Whoa.
Yeah, but I wonder if anyone's thought about that before.
Oh, please. She
give me
did
a
not
break.
date him.
Like hiring a hot girl. It'd be like me hiring a hot guy to distract Lisa because I don't want to be there anymore. Do you know what I mean? Imagine if Kim
She's
had
not
planned...
saying that Kim planned
Like
it.
if Kim wanted Kanye out of the picture and out of the lives,
No.
she could organise a hot girl to go and play with Kanye.
I think you'll find she's more saying it was like a community service help that she did off her own bat. No one asked her to do it. No one knew who she was.
She was doing it for fame.
Guys, Snoop Dogg, he's taking on a new business venture. It's Snoop Doggy Dogs. So he's doing hoodies for dogs. It's about time. I mean, this would have happened years ago, I would have thought. T-shirts, dog bowls, harnesses, toys. Some of the highlights of the line include a chew toy in the shape of a rolled joint.
Tommy, how much is Snoop worth? Because he's what's he's on? He's even got his own wine here in Australia, hasn't he?
Do you know what's amazing
Who's
though?
drinking Snoop?
Like, he's
19 crimes.
Yeah, I think it was 19 crimes. He's worth 150 mil.
I thought it'd be more than that.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting though? When you've got that amount of money, he can just sit on the couch doing what he does all day. And then go, hey, man, what about hoodies for dogs?
Yeah.
And then with that money, he can go, hey, mate, go and organise hoodies for dogs. Let me know when the line's ready. So he does nothing else but sit there and shoot demand.
But that's what all of them do. Hey, I want an underwear line. Someone else goes and does
Make
it. They
that
whack a
for
name
me.
on it. One of the hats for dogs does have Snoop's braids,
Awesome.
so your dog can look like.
I'm
Yeah.
getting one for Beast.
I
No,
knew
you're not.
you would.
No,
I
you're
knew
not.
You
Can we
would.
order one, Tom?
Yeah, on it right now.
What's the show budget?
Yeah,
looking
show
like?
budget.
Guys,
It's gone after Hot Wheels.
your favourite actor, Daniel Craig, is officially a US citizen, so much so that he has revealed his favourite holiday in the year.
I do understand Thanksgiving. It's about giving thanks, as far as I understand. I knew there would be tough questions.
Exactly. have you celebrated? You've been in the States for a long time.
I have, and we do celebrate it. And in fact, I have American friends as well, so I've celebrated.
You have American friends?
I imagine. And so I've celebrated for quite a long time. Yeah, I do. I think it's probably my favourite holiday.
What a way to dodge a question. What is Thanksgiving about? He has no idea.
Are you sure that was Daniel Craig?
100%. He's
It
laughing.
just sounded like he was having a good time.
He is laughing and
That's out of
smiling.
character.
Stop being
Well,
like
Bond's
that.
over. Of course, he's happy.
Absolutely.
He's got the money and run.
The Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Nuns. Geez, when you dedicate your life to God and to the church, it's a huge call.
I don't think I've ever met a nun.
Me either.
No, I
I've
don't
seen nuns. There used to be a nunnery not that far from the Abbey.
Does
it's not a
anyone-
nunnery.
Does
is it?
anyone know a nun 13, 24, 10?
Are you a nun?
Did they, I mean, how long were they a nun for? Did they decide to leave at some stage?
You don't really leave though, do you?
I mean, there are some that fall in love.
Do you honestly
and they
believe?
leave. That'd be a great movie, wouldn't it? A nun who falls in
Yeah.
love and
Called None the Wiser.
That's
leaves
pretty good.
the
When
work,
no one
leaves
else
the
knew
church.
that they were
And what-
getting it on.
Then like climbs the mountains of Austria with 7 kids.
I reckon that's a great idea.
They
Seth.
sing.
Yeah.
And they escape the war-torn.
That's not bad.
Do you
And they
think
sing
we have
about
a
their
big?
favourite things. What's that,
Do
mate?
you think we have a big nun sort of listenership? You asked if anyone is a nun to call. Do you think between
No.
6 and
Well,
9
we've
they...
got-
The question was, do you know a nun?
We've got budgie smugglers to give away if there's any. No, do they come in female?
Not at this stage.
No,
What's
budgie
the,
smugglers aren't doing one pieces. No.
Yeah, they do. Budgie smuggler. Oh, mate, they do bikinis, they do one pieces, they do everything.
they do.
Tommy, what is the male equivalent of a nun?
Well, is it
that
a priest?
No.
Is it a brother?
Maybe it's the brotherhood.
Yep, could be.
Maybe it's a brother.
Is this Sister Act?
Yeah.
I don't think Whoopi Goldberg.
Give me a minute.
Movie.
So good.
What
I don't think Whoopi was really a nun.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg.
Gee, it seems like, I mean, what's your work when you're at the Abbey? What is your work as a nun? Like, you do see them wandering around. They're always in pairs. So there's some good friendships there. But when you get back there, outside of the work you might do for some charity organisations and continuing the Lord's word, what do you do?
Sing. You sing.
Yeah, and they garden and stuff.
I don't think they
And
just
then they
sing.
chase
Yep.
down baddies.
Yep.
Like PlayStation or...
Well, I
They
tell
don't
you,
chase down...
Sister
Sister Act?
Sister Christina does. You never heard of Sister Christina?
I need to know more about Sister Christina.
She went on The Voice over in Italy in 2014 and she stunned the judges with her hit song by Alicia Keys, No One.
No nun.
She's dressed as a nun on the show and they're all the nuns in the background, like losing the plot.
Is she a nun, though?
She's a nun.
So you're not saying it's a gospel choir?
What happened? She became a superstar in Italy and then she went on other shows and performed. She also performed Lady Gaga's Born This Way.
And does she have the full nun
Have it.
cloak on?
There she is there. And then there was controversy around Sister Christina because then after that she brought out her own cover of a Madonna classic.
Like a bird
Oh,
Whoa.
poor choice.
Don't do that. Well, there shouldn't be a first time, to be honest.
Beautiful voice.
So this is... It was appropriate because you know what? Christina has left.
The nunnery?
Yep, she's left the nunnery. She's out.
What for?
Well, she just said it's not for me. I've done what I've...
Wanted to achieve,
and now I just want to go out and you know, find love and sing and
Be a pop
perform
star.
for others.
I got a bit of a question here on nun Christina. Were you ever a nun?
Yeah,
Or
she
did you-
was. No, she was for a while.
Or were you just trying to create a bit of talk? You know? Remember the two girls that were apparently getting it on from the girl group Tattoo?
Oh, Tattoo.
They weren't
All the
nuns.
things she said. No, I know, but
they were
weren't-
meant to be
they
lesbian
weren't
couple.
lesbians.
They weren't, mate. They were putting on an act. And I've got a huge question over Christina. Tom was devastated when he found out those two
I know.
girls weren't actually getting it on.
I felt ripped off.
Unfollow,
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah.
All the things she said running through Tom's head.
Tom's tattoo is unbelievable on his lower back.
Extraordinary. So I'm starting to wonder whether
Oh, publicity stunt.
she really carried out the
Here we
true
go.
services of a nun.
We're getting some calls here. Nick in Botany, your mother-in-law was a nun.
Yeah, she was.
How long for, Nick?
She did 10 years in the nunnery.
Wow. Did she just decide at a certain stage of her life, oh, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, I mean, she went to a Catholic school and then joined, you know, obviously went straight in to become a nun at a young age and then decided it wasn't for her and left and met my father-in-law and had 4 kids.
Wow.
Amazing.
Well, I wonder if there was a key point too, Nick, where she went, I want to do that instead. Was she watching anything or...?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why she left. I just think, you know, she was at a sort of stage in her life. This was in the 60s, where I think she probably thought she was missing out on a few things and decided to leave. But,
Hey.
I mean, she's certainly got some stories.
What's one of her best stories about being a nun, Nick, that she tells at Christmas?
Well, yeah, I think you know, a lot of it's just about sort of how hard it was. I mean, I think it's a pretty big commitment. You know,
You're avoiding naughty stories, aren't you, Nick? You're avoiding naughty stories. Hey, Nick, can you
I
tell
don't
me?
want to incriminate anyone.
Could you tell me what they did during the day, like what your work is as a nun?
Well, I mean, obviously, a lot of it's around sort of prayer and those sorts of things. They're up very early and doing those sorts of things. But she was teaching at the convent she was at during the day, and yeah. But I mean, obviously, yeah, it's pretty
And
full
at
on
night
day.
she was... What?
Sleep.
God knows.
Yeah, God knows. Yeah.
Thank you, Nick, for your call. Let's go to Liz in Elwood. You work with nuns, Liz?
Yes, I do. I work with the Sisters of the Good Samaritan at Glebe.
Oh, wow.
Good on you,
And what do
Liz.
you do with them, Liz?
I work in the archives department. So they have a large archives there where they keep all their memorabilia, all their documents and maps, plans, and I help the archivist. I'm her secretary.
Oh, this is
fascinating.
This is great. Are they easy to get along with, Liz? Do they open up to you sometimes about their lives?
Not really, but they are very nice people. I've been there for 22 and a half years now.
Did they go on a holiday at all? Do nuns get a break or...?
They do have a break. They go away usually at Christmas time.
Right.
They have retreats. Once a year they go on a retreat. But they do, like at Christmas time, go away to other communities.
And Liz, at that Christmas time, do they still continue the traditional dress or can they derobe a bit or...?
No, well, these nuns are not in the traditional outfits. They
Right.
just wear normal laid people's clothes.
Have you met any that have left the convent, Liz, and said, I've had enough?
No. I mean, they've when they leave, I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of nuns. Well, when I say I know, I've seen in the system a lot of nuns that have left, but I've never really met any that have.
You know what's amazing too, to think about what we've just learned about nuns is I could guarantee you there's not one other radio show doing this morning. Nun chat. We've never done it. How long's this show been going?
Yeah, 12
years.
Yep.
We have never done nun chat, and I loved it.
We haven't had Tracy Grimshaw on in 12 years either.
I know.
It's been a massive show. It's
been a first for everyone.
We've never done a show as well where we've played France and lost 4-1 either.
That's so true, mate. On a Wednesday. Is it Wednesday?
It's been a big show.
Man. You never know what you're going to get on this show. I can't wait for tomorrow.
The Fitzy and Wippa Show is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.